Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'll be showing you how to make coconut cookies. Hey Sugar Spun Bakers! So today's recipe is really easy. It's my husband's most hated recipe on the blog because he hates everything coconut, so it is killing him right now to film this video, but we're gonna go ahead with it anyway. Now, today's recipe starts, like most of mine do, with 2 sticks of unsalted butter. Now you want this to be softened about to room temperature before you begin. We'll add this to a large bowl. You're going to want to use an electric mixer, you could use a stand mixer instead, to cream this butter until it's smooth and creamy. So that should only take a second since your butter is already nice and soft. So the next thing we'll do is we'll add our sugar. We'll start with 1 cup of firmly packed light brown sugar, and we'll also add 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, and we'll cream all of our ingredients together with our electric mixer. Next we'll be adding 2 large eggs, 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract. And even though we're going to be adding coconut flakes to this recipe, I like to add some coconut extract as well to give the cookies a really nice coconut flavor. You'll just need 1/2 teaspoon. And you'll use your electric mixer just to stir everything together again. You can really smell the coconut right now, and Zach is absolutely dying. Going to quickly use my spatula to make sure everything is nicely combined, make sure everything on the sides and bottom of the bowl is well incorporated into the batter. Now that everything's nicely combined, you're going to need a separate bowl for your dry ingredients. We're going to start with 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. We'll add 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. This helps make our cookies nice, thick, soft, and chewy, and helps keep them from spreading too much. And we'll also be adding 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Now whisk your dry ingredients together until everything is well combined. And we'll use our electric mixer again to gradually stir the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. So again, I'm just going to use my spatula to make sure all of the ingredients are completely combined. You really want to scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl, especially if you are using a stand mixer. Oh, see, we had a pocket of flour right there. Okay, so now we need the actual coconut for our coconut cookies. You're going to need a total of 3½ cups of coconut for this recipe, but for starters, for our batter, we are only going to need 3 cups. So this is 3 cups of shredded unsweetened coconut. I prefer to use unsweetened because sweetened coconut just makes the cookies a little too sweet for me. So I recommend stirring in the coconut by hand rather than using the electric mixer. Just find it to be easier that way. Now, one thing I love adding to this cookie dough, if you can get your hands on Ghirardelli caramel chips, they are so good in these cookies. I haven't been able to find them in my grocery store recently, so we're not adding them today, but if you can find them, it's so good. So our coconut cookie dough does need to chill in the fridge for at least 30 minutes, so we're going to cover it with plastic wrap to keep it from drying out. And we'll take this over to our fridge where it will chill for 30 minutes. About 15 minutes before you're ready to bake your cookies, you'll want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Then, once your oven is preheated and your baking sheets are ready, your cookie dough is chilled, you're going to want to grab that and we can begin scooping it. I scooped this cookie dough into about 2 tablespoon-sized balls, and you could just drop these directly onto your baking sheet, but because I like nice uniform round cookies, I like to just briefly roll the dough between my palms to make a nice smooth ball, and then place that on my baking sheet. You'll want to space your cookies at least 2 inches apart. I'm using a 1½ tablespoon size cookie scoop. I will link to this below, and I'm just using a heaping portion for each cookie dough ball. So we'll take these over to our preheated oven and we'll bake them for about 10 to 12 minutes or until they are a light golden brown color. Now when I make these cookies, after they've baked and cooled, I love to dip them in chocolate and sprinkle them with toasted coconut. This is completely optional, but if you remember earlier, I mentioned you want to have an additional ½ cup of unsweetened shredded coconut. So I'll show you how to toast this real quickly. We're just going to spread this evenly over a parchment paper lined baking sheet, and we'll toss this in a 325 degree Fahrenheit preheated oven where we'll cook it for about 5 minutes or until it's light golden brown in color. You'll want to let your coconut cookies cool completely on the baking sheet, and then once they're cooled, you can enjoy them as they are, or you can do what I like to do and dip them in some melted chocolate. And then sprinkle them with that toasted coconut. And that is how you make coconut cookies, aka my husband's least favorite dessert in the whole world. I hope you guys enjoy this recipe as much as I do and not as much as he does. And if you try this one out, please let me know what you think, because I always love hearing from you, for real. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. All right, well, the chocolate's still a little bit melty, but I've never let that stop me before. You're so good.